about that. But did you link it into Facebook?
Yeah. I'm gonna tag you
Okay.
so you can just share it to your population as soon as we get started.
Okay.
But right now, Facebook is seeing this, so it is streaming. So
Okay,
don't say
cool.
nothing you don't want people to hear.
Or should I?
Let's see. This Charles. This is Sai. I don't want to hear that. All right. Let's see.
Did you send it to me?
Now, let me see what Charles. I'm a little worried about Charles here. What's the problem, man? You ain't see the text? I just texted to you, so you can just click on that, or you on your desktop. Yeah, it's the same, but yeah, I sent the email and text. All right. Okay. All righty. I still don't know why Vennessa can't see. Let me call Vennessa and see why we can't see her. Unless that's how she wanted. There he is.
You know, it's difficult if it's on the phone. It's easier if they don't have Zoom downloaded on their phone. It could be difficult for them to pop up the.
The phone is easier, right?
For me it wasn't. Because I don't have Zoom on my phone. I don't have the app. There you go. Hey.
He got it on his phone. What's going on, Governor?
Okay.
I can't hear you. We do a mic check. You might be not. Yeah, he on the phone. Can you hear us okay? Can you hear? I can't hear you.
See, saying we have trouble.
All right, now I can hear you.
Hey, you hear me now?
Yep, hi. Hey, Charles.
Hey, how's it going, Erica?
That's
Hey,
Natasha.
Erica, Natasha.
Natasha Dunn. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Haven't heard from you in a long time.
I know, it's been a while. It's okay. I'll give you a slide on that.
She got 2 graduates, man. Her twins graduated, so that's Master Mom.
That's huge. That's huge. Congratulations to both of them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So you guys can hear okay?
Yep.
Yeah,
I hear good.
So let me first just say thank you guys for carving out time. It actually goes to 7. Is everybody okay? 20 extra minutes. The flyer says 6:40. Y'all okay?
Yeah, that's good.
Right,
yeah, that should be okay.
So for all our audience out there, I want you guys to know you are about to be blessed by some perspectives. And we want you to, on Facebook, if you're on Facebook, type in any comments, and I ask the questions to either of our superstars out there. We're going to see if Vennessa can show her face and we can hear. But we got from Black Parents Speak founder, our superstar Natasha Dunn. Natasha and I go back over 10 years. I watched her children grow, and now they're just doing big things. And of course, we got Charles here. Charles and I met at Montefiore with the legendary Dr. Philip Jackson, and we've been rocking and rolling ever since then. But I wanted you guys to share the video, make sure people can hear this perspective. The format, you guys, is I have some set of questions for you guys. Want you to introduce yourselves, and then we want to kind of open it up for what you think is going to happen going forward. Y'all know it's all about education. So let's start, ladies first. So it's on you there, Natasha. Who are you, and how did you come to care about education?
Yeah, well, I am a parent first and foremost. I always say that. I mean, when babies come, that puts you in that position, to be able to care for them. And I also currently work as a community engagement manager for an organization called VOCEL. It's VOCEL. It's called Viewing Our Children as Emerging Leaders. And what we do is we provide innovative early childhood education experiences for the entire family. So we work with kids at an early age. We work with parents at an early age, and we provide them with the tools necessary so that they can be leaders and be ready to learn and everything else. So we have a program in several different public schools throughout the city of Chicago. So I work with a whole bunch of principals, parents, and just community stakeholders. It's an amazing experience because it's a free program. And I'm all about that education early on, because for me as a parent, raising children, I thought that starting early was what put them on a trajectory of success. Both of my twins were able to, go to the top schools that they wanted to go to. They ended up getting scholarships and things like that because I started early on. My daughter as well, she's doing extremely well in school because I had those tools and support there. The other part is I founded several different organizations actually to work to bring a voice for Black parents, because while I was in the system with my son, out in their ability to do well in school. And I kind of knew that was going to happen going in. I also was a substitute teacher, so I kind of saw how the system operated. And then I also worked with the Chicago Coalition for the Homeless as an organizer. So I had an opportunity to see CPS from various different angles. But when my sons became students in CPS, it was reality. It kicked me in the face. I was constantly at the school advocating for their needs. I had teachers tell me that my sons were just average, you know, or average and below average, by the way, and that they were comfortable with that. You know, and I'm like, how are you comfortable with that? I'm not comfortable with that. And in fact, that's not even true. You know, based on their test scores, they're above average. I mean, if you want to be technical. But I mean, I constantly saw myself fighting with the school, with the principal, with just to make sure that my sons were getting the education they deserve, to the point where I eventually had to pull them out of the school. I mean, it's a long story that I'm not going to go into, but you know, that's what made me connect with other Black parents, because I realized I wasn't the only one dealing with the issue.
Right.
I see we have another person jumping on, so I don't want to keep going, but that's me in a nutshell.
But for the most part, though, why do you feel education is critical? I guess that was like, it's
critical because it is the foundation for freedom. You know, education equals liberation. I mean, at the end of the day, that's how we are able to be successful. I mean, and education is not necessarily just sitting in the classroom and listening and doing what the teacher say. Education is critical thinking skills. It's being able to, you know, create your own ways to make economic streams so you can support your families and your communities as well. So my point is, at the end of the day, education it's the foundation. It is very important. So.
Okay. So with that anchorage you have, let's hear from Governor Charles. So Charles, who are you, man? And what is it that, you know, has you on this call about education?
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Erica. I champion that, what you said about education. It's the basic, it's not a basic, it's basic when young people are young, which to me that starts at home. And if we're not good providers at home, I don't see sending them to a place where they're supposed to be educated at and they're not getting fulfilled. Yeah, but anyway, that's another story. My name is Charles Robinson. I'm an educator for CPS. And I also am an organizer with National Block Club. And that's it.
But you put your daughter through school, just like we just talked about Natasha. She's putting 2 of her boys and graduated already, and her daughter's doing well. So what was, like, you putting your daughter, she graduated as well. So why is education important to you?
Yeah, you know, from the start, when she went to daycare, she started off in daycare, and then she entered CPS, and I championed what Erica said about.
You keep calling her Erica. That's Governor Natasha.
I mean, Natasha, just kick my
butt. My name must be Erica in another life.
No. You know why? Because I'm thinking Erica, the other Erica. You know what I'm talking about, side Erica. Yep. You know, that Erica. I'm thinking that Erica. You two must look alike or something. I don't know. But yeah, I'm sorry, Natasha. Yeah. Natasha said, you know, I mean, it's something when the system that you think supposed to be helping, to me, wasn't much help, because they said my daughter had like some type of speech impairment or something like that, and so they gave her help, which is someone that deals with speech, I guess, and that didn't really, you know, seem to do no good, because she didn't really have a speech problem. That's what we found out. It wasn't really speech. A lot of insecurities early on that I dealt with the school, as far as to me, protecting the students, bullying and stuff like that, you know. And as she flourished through grammar school, And me and my wife, we were participants in her school to kind of ensure that, we keep a watchful eye on what's going on in education in her school. So she basically made it, she pretty much was an average student, what I call an average student. And as far as grammar school goes, she just flourished and happened to graduate, went to Bogan High School in Chicago, Illinois, and just averagely went through to graduate, I mean, nothing spectacular,
Now, here's the thing, because a lot of people watching, they're gonna, one of the key things is coming on here. They have their parents, they had their children in school. Do you think they have a fair shot, or is the system rigged and it's not even designed for Black parents to win with their children? Natasha, you want to take a first crack at that? Is it fair? Like, can they win?
No, yeah, you can win. I mean, you can, but you definitely have to know the ins and outs and understand that it takes you as a parent first to be able to make sure that your child has what they need, because they're not going to get it all in the school. If you go into this thinking that I'm going to send my child to school to be educated and in the public school system, and then you do nothing at all, then that's where you're going to mess up at. It's going to take you to do some extra work. Yeah, so it works, but it doesn't.
Is it, because you go up north, so you in Lincoln Park, is it balanced or is it not balanced in terms of?
It's not balanced. There's a few things. First of all, there's not support for Black students at all to be successful in the school system as it is. They mask a lot of the resources that they claim are supposed to support Black students as the support for them, but there's not any cultural relevancy in that. So for example, you see with the Hispanic community, they get a lot of resources for their children. For example, like language support. They get teachers that are culturally relevant to, be able to work with them in their language support issues. Our children don't have that, and they need it, because our children come in with deficits, language deficits and things of that nature, and they need that type of support as well. So we don't necessarily get that, but that's why I say it could work if you go in knowing that you're going to have to go outside to get resources and support, which is what I did. So one of the things that I did when I noticed that, yes, the chips were stacked against my son, I reached up and found other types of support for them. Like, for example, when they were at school in Lincoln Park, I enrolled them in a tutoring program that was free. And they would go there, and it also had a mentoring component too. But then I also found out about Black Star Project as well, which was more culturally relevant support. And that's how I met Philip Jackson and got involved through their Saturday University. So like, I knew I needed to do more work than just sending them to school. It wasn't just about going to school every day and making sure they had their pencil and pens and were dressed properly and were nice to the teacher. And I also had to make sure that I understood the data. I had to understand what those test scores really meant, and compared it to their grades. I needed to understand all that too, and they don't necessarily explain that to you either.
Now, Charles, on your end, being on the inside, is it, and we always want to make sure you protect your home front, so I wouldn't want you to say nothing that might cause problems later. But from being on the inside, do you see that the deck is stacked, or you think it's a level playing field from your vantage point, being in the schools you're in?
Oh man, boy, is the deck stacked. I mean, to me, as Natasha Dunn said, the resources part. I mean, as we could take a poll of what we was discussing earlier, about the dropout rate. The dropout rate, that's a serious thing. And to me, when you purposely, some resources to me wasn't put there purposely. You know, I mean, that's the stacked deck thing to me. Because when you go in other schools, even though you know it's different tax brackets in different areas and different resources is going to be moved here and there. I mean, it's just to me like these schools should obviously have different stuff that they don't have. You know. So yeah, I mean, it seems plain and blunt to me. I don't try to. I'm not trying to talk against saying because I work there, but I'm just saying it should be. It could be better. It could be a lot better.
We've been joined by Vennessa. I see you, Vennessa. She's getting situated there. She had inboxed me, so we definitely want to get her thoughts. Now, what I hope is going to come out of this conversation, you guys, honestly, for some of our parents, well, number one, I wanted them to meet you guys so that they know who's out there that they can tap into, especially Black Parents Speak. So, Vennessa, them being able to see you and hear kind of what you're doing. And, of course, we want you to give more insight on how the parents can do more for their children. What should be happening right now with COVID-19 and if school is going to even start back the way it was. But I want to keep chipping away at first the outside influences on education, which is what I think the deck is stacked against us, and then what the mayor and what the government should be doing to help make things better. So, Vennessa, are you ready to go to speak now, or are you still at the store? Yeah, she's still muted right now. Okay, so it's on you, Natasha. I want to just.
I want to go
government because Mayor Lightfoot, she's a new mayor, just getting started. Is it on the government? Like, is it the mayor that can do anything about it? You know, or is it bigger than that for Black people?
It's a combination of both. I mean, the mayor has a responsibility because she's taken on the role to govern the city's, resources and departments. So, and CPS falls under her governance. She's yet to make sure that we have an elected school board, but even with that, it could be a little, stacked against us as well. But I think that the government has a responsibility, of course, because we also taxpayers. I mean, we deserve the same type of schools, quality education, resources, and all that stuff that other schools have. And it goes back to the question you said, like, yes, I've had to travel outside of my own neighborhood to be able to get, I wouldn't say not necessarily a better education, but resourceful school. Okay, a school that's clean, that's bright, that has books, that nature should be, case. All like that. One school. Are you frozen, Si?
Can you guys see me?
No, we can't see you.
I can't hear you either. You frozen, Si.
1 second, you guys. Y'all can hear me, though. You just can't see me, right?
I can hear you.
I hear you now.
Yeah. All right. That's the live. Did we get Vennessa back yet?
We got a little of her, but I can see you right now.
Hey.
It's a situation happening that I wasn't expecting to be happening at this time. And it's happening at this time, but right now I'm a little more settled, so I just went in. And I'm unmuted.
Oh, so cute.
But I'm still here.
Okay, so Charles, if you could give us your thoughts on that before we get into kind of what parents can be doing, and I want to talk about homeschool a little bit, what I think we could be doing as well.
Okay, the government and the mayor was the question, right? Could they?
Mayor Lightfoot, we want to put the pressure on Mayor Lightfoot. What could she be doing right now to add to this deficit and gap with our young people?
All right.
It's on you.
The part of remote learning, you know, we had to do that, and coming into a new school year, I mean, as far as resources wise, things need to change resource wise. I mean, the schools, just like we don't have, they cut the arts and the bands and a lot of the shop classes, and you know, not to put in school. And my thing is, I think a lot of our young
Can you guys hear? I can barely hear you. Natasha, can you hear Governor Charles?
Mm-hmm.
Just you. That will work there.
I want to know what you think about that. Do you even think that CPS is actually implementing that? Because I don't know if you know, but by law, they're supposed to be teaching African and American history, done through all of the courses. Like, for example, they're supposed to infuse it into history, into math, into science. They're supposed to infuse it, you know, throughout the school year into various different subject matter. And
you broke up a little bit, but towards the end, you broke up a little bit. But one, I would say CPS is implementing it, but I guess it's up to the person to use the curriculum that I saw. So if you go on the Knowledge Center under the CPS website, there is African American curriculum. But first time knowing that it was supposed to be infused in every subject, so I didn't know that. And it seemed like it's an option if you want to use it, but you can use it for literacy or for social studies. So it seems like it's an option. But if you infuse it with all the subjects, yeah, they definitely should provide us with support. This past subject with my teaching social studies, I didn't have any curriculum. I didn't have any type of support or guide. I was just, and it was my first teacher too, and it was like all the other teachers had curriculum, but because they were teaching other subjects that the school had curriculum for. Social studies was that one subject that kept trying to come up with stuff. My principal directed me to that African American and African curriculum from the Knowledge Center, and I started to use that. But yeah, I definitely think we need more support in terms of curriculum that we use. Natasha, you muted.
I said, did you say it was on CPS's website now? Okay.
It was it was just like a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. It was at that time, and I believe it still is.
Okay. We just took over the show for you. Go ahead.
I know I disappeared. Yeah. So what? I don't know how far you guys had gotten, but can we speak to the parents who have if we could do kindergarten through 3rd grade, what should they be doing right now? School starting in September, maybe August. What can they do?
I have I would say what they could be doing is definitely every night you're supposed to be reading, reading to your kids, or if they read on their own, making sure that they have books that they like to read. It shouldn't, you want to have a combination of books that they like to read, and then you have to, just because, of course, kids will be like, I just only want to read this. And it's like, okay, that's good, but here's something else you want to introduce. So that thing also are so good to go over with, especially the little ones, like with the pictures and things like that. And then the letters. You can play various different educational games. Even though I do Black Parents Speak, I work with an organization that does 0 to 4 stuff, Bocel. You can go onto their website to get some activities, the Bocel Facebook page, BOCEL, and like it. Because they have some awesome activities, educational, brain-based type stuff that can support families and kids as they prepare for a program that's going to be online, and that's my son that just ran past. It's a program that's going to be online throughout the school year as well. So we have appropriate 0 to 5, but we also we have other activities that might range for older kids as well that are educational. So education doesn't necessarily always have to be sitting around reading the book, only doing flashcards. You can do like fun activities as well, like cooking. It's educational when you buy some measuring cups. Measuring cups help you be able to start the math process, right? When you're going outside to like the parks and stuff, you should talk about what you see in the parks, like play the game of like, what do you see? Do you see that cat, or do you see that bird? Or, ask questions. If you ask a lot of questions to your kids, that's like the best thing. It creates the critical thinking. I can't hear you, Si.
All right. Was it because what you just suggested, Natasha, was spot on. You could tell you're deep in the game. You know exactly what they could be doing. So the show. Are You Smarter Than the 5th Grade? I think it was.
Yeah.
Mariah, my 3rd grade daughter, brought home in January. They was doing math, and it was distributive properties. And I'm gonna tell you, my wife got her master's degree, and we was we had to go and freshen up. It wasn't that easy, you guys. And this is 2 people heads. So I think parents having a support system is real, because it really made us say, wow, what if you are a single parent with multiple children and you're trying to do this, and this is 3rd grade. So God forbid you get to 7th and 8th grade. So I'm curious to know, should parents feel less than if they don't know this work that's coming home?
No, they shouldn't. It's normal. I mean, a lot of parents feel that too. But then the thing too is that the work and the teachers could speak on this, but I feel like some of the work that like what Jill was getting, I was just like, what is this? And we didn't do it. We didn't do that homework. We did other homework. When it comes to I don't follow their rules like that. Like, I'm just sorry I don't, because I want to be sure that I'm very courteous to the teachers. I make sure that some of her homework is completed, but some of it I just don't feel like it's necessary. So we'll do something else. So she's going to be prepared because we might, instead of doing that complicated type math, we might do some old school type math. We might also do some new school math, but in a way that I can understand and that she can also, you know, because the other thing is some of this stuff is actually confusing kids too. So they're losing confidence. And this is the other key. CPS, and I'm going to be real, they do a horrible job teaching math. And the data shows. It's not like, I'm not just saying that because I'm in my feelings. I'm saying that based on their data. Like even with the top schools in the city of Chicago. So I like to look at CPS data. And one of the things that I noticed was that even with like the Whitney Youngs, the Walter Paytons, the Jones College Preps, and the Whitney Youngs, they didn't even grow them at all in math. Now, the reason, number one, these kids, the kids in those schools are already coming in above average. They know they're smart already, right? So you don't have to, but it was a start. It was like an alarming thing to see that it was nothing with them. Like, so then when you look at the schools that, like some of our neighborhood schools in their math, their scores were horribly low, you know? And one of the things that I remember when I was a student at CPS was that it made me hate math. I graduated from CPS saying I'm bad at math, like I think most people say when they leave the school system. And I think the CPS they need to acknowledge that they do a horrible job with it, and they need to put a lot more attention to how they're teaching math, to do it in a new way, to figure out another way to teach our kids, because you're missing out on a whole bunch of opportunity to be able to inspire the next generation of engineers and other people who could be mathematicians. There's a lot of mathematicians that don't know they are because CPS made them.
And I think the key, we just lost Natasha, but we got 2 school teachers on here now. So the question to our school teachers is it, do you find it any certain barriers or challenges teaching our children? Do you think they better off in your hands than if they was in the hands of a teacher they don't know? What do you guys think from that angle?
What do you mean a teacher they don't know? You talking about like if it was a mathematician versus a teacher?
No, I'm talking about as a Black teacher, is it better for Black children to have you guys in the classroom to feel more comfortable?
I want to say yes, but I think about when I was growing up, I ain't had no white teachers, so I can't compare it. It was Black teachers was pretty much all I knew. And so, but I will say as an adult Black person, I feel like I should be teaching in a Black school with Black kids. I'm not sure if they necessarily need to have all Black teachers, but they definitely need to have some Black teachers. Probably majority Black teachers. They don't they have all white teachers, but 1 or 2.
Charles, what you think about that? Being a male teacher, I think the male population has gone tremendously down. Rosita, Chicago, talks about that.
I champion that all the way when you said male, not to once again put females out, but it's hard, especially when students. I mean, because we the first people they interact with when they early in the morning when they come to school, and they come from home with so many different that could alter their day. You know, not having someone they could relate to, you know, and I figure with an African American male, especially in an African American neighborhood, and his African American students, that's very vital to me. That's very vital. I mean, it's a lot that we could do, not only disciplinarian, as a help, not to say we trying to invade their homes, but to help them deal with situations better abroad and at home. So yeah, I will champion that, to say that I mean, that's just like people that look like you. You know, you wanna, to me, that helps soften the blows of trying to come to an institution of learning that's supposed to deal with learning to have a perspective that comes from someone that looks like you and know the culture.
Now,
knowing the culture.
Do you guys feel like and I guess since both of you guys are teaching, can our students concentrate, or is it so many other things affecting them that they not even there? They hungry, they worry about getting shot. Like, can they even focus in Chicago?
Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I opened up another tab and I can't even find the Zoom tab. But I would say
it's like a still
yeah,
picture
it is
of
hard
me.
to you can see a picture of me. It's a
Okay.
yeah, I think they have an issue with focus, and not just with math though, just in general. I think a lot of kids come to school to socialize a lot of times, which is good. It's not, I mean, that's not a bad thing. I think school should be all of that. It's a place where your friends are, but it's also a place where you have academics and you learn. So not just with math. I actually think math is, for a lot of kids, one of the fun subjects. Math is a little more upbeat than reading. So I think math, if you can make it a game, or people, they seem to, even if they don't understand it all the way, they seem to be more awake. If they can't understand it, then they seem to be engaged in it. I think reading is kind of boring for a lot of students.
And that was one of my questions, and I want to hear from Natasha too. Is reading boring because they're not reading about Africa? What do you guys think?
It could be. I think that I'm sure when you don't see images of yourself and you're not learning stuff in a way that you can connect to, it definitely creates that like boringness. Like, because I felt that way when I was in school. So yeah, I'm sure that definitely has a lot to do with it. And I think nowadays schools are intentional with trying to create those culturally relevant like books and making sure kids have that. Yeah.
I know I couldn't get Shakespeare, and I just still never understood why I needed to.
Right.
Just the thought of it like bogged me down. So what do you guys like from an investment standpoint? Putting more money in prisons than schools, is our safety more important than our future and educating the children? Like, what are you guys' thoughts on that? 33 jails in Illinois, 33 jails, prisons. Should we invest there or into the future of our youngsters?
Well, the thing is that the system, we talked about from the beginning, whether or not the system is rigged already. I mean, it's set up like that. I mean, some of our schools feel like jail, feel like a prison. It's ran, some of the principals act like a warden in the prison. I mean, let's be real. Some of the teachers can be like guards, and also
we got 2 teachers on here.
Not you two. No, not talking about you two. I can tell you're not that. But you know some of your colleagues. Come on with it. You know some of them, they need to go and quit. But the thing too is that I think with the way schools are set up is that school is this ideal that you're going to go to school and you're going to become someone. So we are feeding into the brains of our kids early on that if they're not successful in school, if they don't get good grades, then chances are they're not going to be anybody. So when you're putting that into their head early on, and then you have all the other barriers and stuff that come with going to school and being, we talking about Black people being Black, that definitely creates that path, that prison to school to prison pipeline. I mean, it's there. It's like you, and it's unfortunate because it's a lot of kids that, like I said, like I was trying to say before I got cut off, is that just because they didn't do well in a subject doesn't mean that they're not knowledgeable or they can't do well or they don't have that gift or that experience to be able to be successful at something. Do you know what I'm saying? Because just because you didn't have the greatest teacher or you didn't have the good understanding at that moment doesn't mean that you can't develop it later on. And I think sometimes what happens is that school, for some people, it becomes the end all be all and it defines who a person is, and it shouldn't necessarily be that. Not an institution. An institution should not define you. You know, your family, your support system, that's supposed to be it. But I think that's why it's important for people to understand that learning starts at home. Your first teacher is your parents. Parents have to reclaim that power that they have, in particular Black parents, because oftentimes they send their kids to school, and that's about it for some, and they're doing what they think they're supposed to do. But when you're sending a kid into the public school system, you have to do more than just send them there. You have to know that you're their teacher, and that when you go into the school, you are a partner in this process. And in some cases, really, you're the partner, but you also are the boss a little bit too. You're working together for the sake of your child, and so you have to be able to be a voice in the school in several ways, like making sure you got a good school for your kid to go to, making sure it's resourced, making sure the teachers have what they need, making sure, the environment is safe, making sure that the principal is on point, it's just a lot of different things. But oftentimes our schools are not like that, unfortunately. They're not as strong as they should be.
And I guess what you said was so much, and we already know, based on your zip code, it can get ugly just getting to school. We know in some zip codes, they dealing with molestation at home. They dealing with uncle that's violating me and mama trying to put uncle out. You got the shooting and killing. So with our school teachers on the call here, I'm sure you guys see that. And I think that's where we want to make sure that we give people layers of support, so that in the event that you're dealing with social issues, that we as a community come and rally behind you. But to Vennessa and Charles, do you guys think your students are coming there with those type of issues, and that's why they may not be able to focus? Vennessa or Charles, take that?
There? Yeah, I'm here. I was just trying to give Vennessa lady first.
Oh, okay. Vennessa.
There? Okay.
Go ahead,
okay,
Charles.
That question again was, sorry, what was that question? One more time.
Yeah, are the kids able to focus? With everything Natasha said, it seems insurmountable. Like they won't be able to make it, because you're dealing with molestation at home, you're dealing with foster homelessness, you're dealing with bullets flying, you're dealing with guys on the corner that you can't walk past. Like, is it too much of an uphill battle for them to even have a level playing field in the classroom?
Well, that's some of the resources, and I think I heard you say in the beginning about ways to invest into the communities to get, okay, that's just like dealing with what I dealt with in the educational system, working in it, parent on boardness. You know what I'm saying? If is a parent on board. Yeah. And I see in Bonsetting, you get, even though I work at a place a little different that get a little more resources than people would think, and because of the need of the students. That's why I think it's tallied that way. But I have subbed in other schools, and even coming from CPS school system as a child myself, I agree with Natasha. It seemed more like a prison where I was at, and the teachers were guards.
but and Vennessa, are you mic'd up, ready to go? Because I want to talk about that, because you got to have order. I used to speak with Philip Jackson, and I'm going to tell you guys, when you got 30 children and 3 of them are goofing off, it literally disrupts what you're trying to accomplish. And so you do go back to like being a guard. Yeah, hey, can I get you to move over here to the corner while I finish my presentation?
Right. But what I want to say about that, even though I came up in that type of setting, you have some of the brilliantest minds. See, to me, I looked at it like this. To me, a lot of stuff, yeah, you might could get it in that physical setting of where you went to school at or whatever. You that's some of your growth. But a lot of your growth is in between the household, the people that surround you, and everybody is going to be different. I mean, as far as who you go to for support, you know, and some people just want to get out of a situation and they start gravitating toward people that could take them away in a positive, you know. And some people that went to the lower school and came out to be the most brilliantest people.
Yeah.
You know.
Now
and I think that's why it goes back to your foundation at home. And so, like, if you have a strong home life, like a parent that's, you know, on it, they won't allow the system to define their kid, you know. But if you have those kids who unfortunately become a victim of the system because they don't really have that support, that community support, that family support, and so their whole true identity and education discourse is going to be based on what happens in CPS. You know, it's going to be all defined there, and that's unfortunate.
Now we got 9 minutes left, so I want to save 2 minutes for you guys to just promote whatever you guys have going on coming up. But I want to say this, and I think Natasha is in the perfect position with the organization she works for, because we want people to know, what can you do now? And what I want to say right now, 312-405-8844. That's our phone number, 312-405-8844. If you are in Black Chicago, so if you're up north, this won't work for you. If you're in Black Chicago, South Side, West Side, please call that number. We can link you with Natasha and other leaders in our zip codes so that you as a parent do not have to feel alone. We have connections with people in the system, outside the system, but you should not feel totally on your own if you're a parent of a student in Chicago schools. Vennessa, we want to give you the floor so you can just close out and tell us what you got going on. But what would you say is the next step people could do to make education better? And then tell us what you got going on.
The next step to make education better? Is that what you said?
Yep.
Phew. It's so much. I feel like this my third year teaching. So
what's the top three?
This my top three. By this being my third year teaching, I'm not seasoned yet, and so I'm still learning. And so the things that would make teaching better has more to do with me as an individual and not just like teaching as a whole, because I'm not there yet. I'm still trying to get my little one classroom together. But you know, well, I'm gonna say this: at my particular school, we had a new teacher come in, special ed, and she was just saying how it's different at the school that she worked at, is different from the school that I work at, and the school I work at, since that's the only school I've been at, I can't compare it. But I just know that some schools have more support in terms of discipline. So like when the students are acting up, it's just like everything is on the teacher. Everything. You got to be this, and that's fine. But then you just got to be, you know, you got to be the disciplinarian, and then that's normal to a certain extent. At some point, the discipline got to come outside the classroom and somebody else. Okay. And somebody else should be handling the discipline problems. It should be a person that handles that other than just the teacher. And so, and like I said, and like this year, you know what, in CPS, I guess, I don't know if they don't got the funds, I don't know what it is, but a lot of times the schools are short-staffed, and so we'll have students who they've been recommended for years to have a paraprofessional, and everybody know this student need a paraprofessional, The principal keep on putting in the whatever the reports is for the students to have it, and they still don't have it. And they running up the walls and turning over chairs in the classroom. And then I'm a new teacher supposed to come in, and everybody looking at, why your class? This boy, y'all knew this boy was acting like this for all of these years, and every teacher, all the staff know how the student is, but then it's like, oh my God, now I got him this year. So, you know, it's more support that's needed.
Wait,
I had a student this past year.
Now, Natasha, can you comment on what she just said?
I mean, CPS got in trouble for not carrying out people's IEPs and 504 plans. They got in trouble with the feds for that, I think. So yeah, I understand. I mean, but I'm wondering though, is this more prevalent in Black schools? Is it more prevalent because I had a school that I was in, and a parent was saying how she had tried so many times, and this was right after CPS had created the mandate to make sure that the specialized services were given to kids, right? Right after that was funneled down, this parent was saying that she wasn't getting it at her school. She was not getting no support. And she had been advocating forever, but to the point where the principal actually pushed her out of school because she was doing a little bit too much advocating, as she's saying. So, yeah, I'm just agreeing with her. It's unfortunate, being that you're a new teacher and you haven't had a chance to see the different contrasts of how different schools operate. It is a difference. It is a complete, like, you should probably try, if you all ever go back, if we ever go back to normal school, you should try to get some experience and go into different schools to see how things look.
Well, one thing I want to piggyback off what Vennessa said, as far as what I know, I have been around, I have served in different settings of schools, and sometimes, but I like to, how many special need classes do she have? I mean, do they have in her school? Do you know, Vennessa?
Yes, I'm going to tell you how many teachers, because the teachers, they deal with different, like we have some of our teachers, they might have some third graders, that same teacher have fourth graders and eighth graders or something like that. So they think it's three different classrooms, different classrooms, and they split the grades up with them.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I could tell you from my experience of dealing with schools like that, they don't have a big cluster. To them, that's not a big cluster of, it's a cluster of special needs, but it's not a big division throughout the school. So that's what, like 3 classrooms, they're going to get smaller resources for that, for the help of hiring seekers and stuff like that. They're gonna get smaller resources, so they're going within budget of what they, of what they got. So you're gonna see you're gonna see always where it might be pressure of, okay, we don't have enough help to do this because of that budget, and they're not getting them dollars because it's different. It's tabulated different dollars for for that special needs culture.
So let's do this, because I want people to know we're gonna continue down this path every first Tuesday of the month. So I want to make sure the people watching will know we're not gonna give up on it. The goal will be to have a different kind of twist to education each month. So next month, if we can, focus on a certain part of education. So Natasha, you get your brain churning on that, so you can come back and give us some more insight. But any closing remarks from you, Natasha?
Yeah, I will say again, I want to push people to several different pages, actually. One is VOCEL, VOCEL. It is Viewing Our Children as Emerging Leaders. It is the bomb.com organization. They are very intentional in making sure that all children, regardless of zip code, have access to early childhood education, as well as parent support. So look at that Facebook page, like it. I want you to go to Black Parents Speak, like that page, as well as the Black Community Collaborative. That is another one of my babies that I'm trying to birth, and make sure that we are at the table at every single event speaking from a cultural perspective, or every single important meeting speaking from a cultural perspective, making sure that Black children and Black communities are getting what they're supposed to have, and making sure that we are not being pushed out of the city. So.
Thank you for that. Charles, any closing remarks, Charles?
Well, I have none really. I just have an up and going for the youth that's in every community. I have a landscaping thing for mostly young men that they can participate. I'm gonna be bringing more new sports up there. And
so landscaping, you got landscaping jobs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent. Vennessa, what about you?
So I host a prayer cipher. I was hosting at one point every month, and then it started being seasonal. But anyway, we haven't been meeting during the pandemic. So it's an open mic that I host where we come together and pray and speak life over our city through the spoken word, through singing, through rapping, through scripture, and we pray. Usually in person, we break bread. But anyway, so considering the pandemic, we're about to have a virtual prayer cipher this month at the end of the month. So the date for that will be July 25th at 3 p.m.
That's a Saturday.
So I will be sending out information. It is a Saturday. I'll be sending out information as far as how to enter. Most likely it will be on Zoom. So I will be sending out information on how to enter the Zoom meeting. But everybody will just be on there, praising and spitting their rhymes and singing, just having a good old time, speaking life and affecting the energy in a positive way, affecting the environment. So
I like that. Please make sure you share that with me so I can share it on my pages as well.
Thank you guys so much. And again, you guys, we want you to add value to these Zooms. Please know, underneath the Zooms are block by block leaders who's working, supporting and trying to support. Governor Natasha here, she just dropped some major support on us. We gave away some money to kindergartners today, 7th graders yesterday. So we want people to know, if you K through 12th grade, connect with us so we can work with you and link you to these leaders here. 312-405-8844. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.